Let's talk about the loins of our mind for a little bit. I was looking into growing spiritually and studying and ran across a couple verses that talked about loving with a pure heart when I was studying that. For example, here's one of them in 1 Peter 1 verses 22 through 23. Since you have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit and sincere love of the brethren, love one another fervently with a pure heart, having been born again, not of corruptible seed, but incorruptible, through the word of God, which lives and abides forever. So loving one another fervently with a pure heart. Some questions of mine arise. It's like, well, what is a pure heart? We kind of know the words and their definitions, but what's a pure heart? How would you get a pure heart might come to mind. And what would love not from a pure heart be like? You might think, is that even possible, loving without a pure heart? Of course, the heart in the Bible is kind of like the mind, isn't it? It's not the heart that pumps blood, it's kind of the mind. Loving with a pure heart. But we see, I think of this verse, John 13, verse 34, 35, loving with a pure heart reminds me of Jesus saying, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Well, there's more than one kind of love or different ways to love. He says, as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this all will know that you're my disciples, if you have love for one another. So not just love, but the way he loved. So there is a difference in the way love can happen, isn't there? Or different types of love. Now, love from a pure heart, certainly from Jesus, we know, is the love of God. There's a special word in Greek, the agapeo, not just a brotherly love, but this love of God that puts others first. That's what loving from a pure heart would be. Would do no wrong to another. We don't even want to hurt our enemy or cause wrong to happen, certainly to the ones we love at all, even our enemies. It would do no wrong to another, and it would put others first above ourselves as an example of what the pure love would do. And then notice what Peter said just a few verses earlier in that same chapter, where we're getting into loving with a pure heart. I kind of lost my train of thought. I was like, how in the world did I get to girding my loins with finding the pure heart? Well, it was in the same chapter. It does relate. As Paul was preparing us for this, here's what he said earlier. He said, 1 Peter 1, 13 through 16, therefore gird up the loins of your mind. Be sober, and rest your hope fully upon the grace that is to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ, as obedient children, not conforming yourselves to the former lust, as in your ignorance, but as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, because it's written, be holy for I'm holy. He's telling us, girding up our minds, being sober and being holy, and then gets into loving each other the right way by being this sober way. And so you say, what? Gird up your mind? It's like a riddle, isn't it? What are you talking about? The loins of your mind? Well, I posed to you word picture. I think this is what Paul was doing. This is truly a word in the dictionary, a word picture, and very graphic. And he certainly did that job, if you think about it, because it's something that doesn't even exist, is it? The loins of your mind. But so if we gird up the loins of our mind, I think he's saying get serious. He's saying get prepared to do what needs to be done. Get to work, if you will. You get prepared to get to work. Be ready to focus on spiritual things with your mind. Be ready to avoid worldly thoughts and try to put them aside and cast them off. So girding up the loins of your mind, having a pure heart or mind, doesn't just happen. It takes diligence to have a pure heart and mind. So let's gird up the loins of our mind.